Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Talk Tech with Tiff. In this episode, I sat down with Yaad, who is the Managing Director of SAP Labs US and also to the Global Head of SAP Innovation Center Network. In this conversation, we really dive into what him and his team are working on at SAP, some future technologies, and career advice that he has. All right, let's get started. Welcome to Talk Tech with Tiff, the Silicon Valley edition. In this episode, I sat down with Yaad Oren to talk about his career journey and also to the latest innovations they're working on at SAP Labs. All right, let's get into it. Well, before we jump into your career journey, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, of course. So I have two roles in SAP. I've been with the company for 18 years now, believe it or not. One of the roles is managing a global innovation unit called SAP Innovation Center Network, where we are building the next big project for SAP. Wow. We are looking in many advanced technologies. Many of them you can hear right here on the show floor, like ChatGPT, blockchain, quantum computing, and many others interesting stuff. And based on those technology, we find very interesting business problems that weren't solved yet. And we try to build new solutions and co-innovate with our customers to really shape the next generation of enterprise software. This is one role. And the other role, I'm also the managing director of SAP Labs in the US, where we have around 5,000 developers here in the US. And I try to really make the best out of the region for the employees and SAP, how we are working with universities, what kind of talent we can bring in this region for the product, all the way to day-to-day operation to make sure everyone is a great place to work.
Wow, those are two big hats to fill, I must say.
Yeah, it's a fun job, not complaining.
And then on a personal side, when we were speaking a few days ago virtually, you mentioned to me, which I gotta get into before we get into everything SAP, you were in a rock band, or you are in a rock band?
Yeah, well, I'm a frustrated musician, I can tell you this, right? So yeah, I didn't choose tech. I was finding myself going into technology. Yeah, I went to music college, actually. I went to music college, yeah, believe it or not. And yeah, I was in a band. We were almost famous, right? So it was really cool times. I also went to engineering school, right, and did a couple of degrees there. But yeah, I always had a dream to become a musician. And today it's still a hobby I'm doing with my family, right? Wow. So this is something I'm very happy. And to be honest, it's also helped me quite a lot during the career. You will be surprised how many artists and creative people we have here in the tech industry. And I believe it's really helpful to be innovative as well. So you're right, I have this background. Yeah. Very proud of it.
I love that you highlighted that. It's so important to have interests outside of technology and all that it has to offer, because through those interests, you can really think of problems in a different way or solutions in a different way.
Exactly.
And just bring a lot of creativity to the table.
Right.
That's really interesting. Okay, can we look up your band, or is it?
Well, maybe some other time. Yeah, we can look your band, because honestly, it was like really heavy rock, right? So no.
Wow.
But you can check my name if you find something. That it's funny, because when I'll tell you a very short story, right? When I met my wife, so I was a musician, right? And back then, if you Googled my name, right, so you can find some cool rock clips and images. As time progressed and I released more computer science publication and geeky blogs, I become like in the page number 3 and 4 in Google. So my wife told me, what's happened to you? When I met you, you used to be cool, now everything is around. So yeah, so you can find it, but you need to be an archaeologist to do this.
To do it, all right. Well, going back to your career at SAP, you mentioned you've been with the company for over 18 years.
Yes.
First off, that is incredible. And as I was looking through your LinkedIn and reading different blog posts and articles, I know you have held within SAP various different titles. I know from product manager, software developer, and then continuing to grow. And when I see that, and I think when many people who are watching this see that, one question that comes to mind is, how were you able, or what advice would you give to finding success in each role? Because a lot of times they are pretty different, or are they?
Yeah, it's a great question. It really depends what would you like to achieve. If you would like to specialize in a certain domain, like you would like to be the best developer for immersive technologies, right? Or the best architect for blockchain-based solution. then you should really focus on that and grow your skills to be the best in the industry. If you would like to become more like a general manager type, right? You need to start running the gamut with few roles and really diverse your skill set. And this is the reason why you're right. I did, I think, almost any possible role in R&D, from development to product management to research. I even did some roles which are outside of the development unit, like I was in corporate strategy, and this really helps you to have diverse skill set that can grow you into this kind of more managerial position. But it really depends on what you would like to achieve, and then if you would like to go to the more general manager role, definitely try different things so you can come well suited for that.
When you were starting out in your career, you mentioned that trying these different or wearing these different hats is super important to becoming a general manager. Did you know when you were starting out your career that that was the path you wanted to go down, or was it more so at the time a mix of that with curiosity of different roles?
I actually knew it because I always wanted to do this. I have a desire for like big operations, right, and drive large-scale impact.
Yeah.
So also I have to say I was a developer. I was in R&D, and I was a nice developer, but not the best developer, right? I was one of the guys that actually, for the more geeky audience, break the build right before the weekend, and then you get the phone call, oh, you're stuck, all of that. So I think that becoming more of the generalist, right, and doing many things was also kind of, I wouldn't say the only option that I have, but definitely something that I thought I can excel more than becoming the best technology expert, out there in one domain or others. So yeah, I definitely wanted to do this, and I have, I think, really strong tendency to do things in a large scale.
Yeah, I like that. Do things on a large scale. For individuals who are watching, even myself, when I was, once again, going back to your current role, managing director, head of global innovation networks, what is some advice you would give to others who maybe are starting out in their career journey, maybe don't have as much direction as to where they want to go? What is some advice you could give to them?
I think we need to have a healthy curiosity, right? I think while you are, let's say, younger in your early stage of your career, definitely try many things. It's perfectly okay to fail and don't like one role and another. I tried many things, and some of the roles, helped me to go to a different stage in my career, but definitely it's not something I wanted to continue to be this kind of domain expert. So you need to experiment. You don't need to feel bad if you are not, first of all, if you're not fit the mold, right? Just like I am. You don't see too many, I think, tech executive with a ponytail and a beard and a funny accent, right, with my background. So you need to be very authentic as well, but also you need to experience many things. There is no, I failed so many times, right, and I try many things. And eventually you get into some sort of maturity, certain time of your life, certain time of your career that and then it's like you get into the orbit and things flowing from there.
Yeah, I love that. And it really hits home for me personally, because when I was starting out in my career as a developer, I thought the only way to succeed would be if I was a specialist. I thought, I have to really focus in on one technology and go really deep into that. And of course, that is an amazing career path for some people, but I quickly realized that I was leaning more towards being a generalist. I liked wearing different hats. I liked trying different roles out and different things like that. So it's really interesting to hear your perspective and your journey through wearing many different hats as well.
Yeah, and especially if you start managing what we call a P&L, profit and loss, revenue, then you better get some other roles and skill set. You can also learn other things. It's very important to learn. I also have an MBA, right, which was very helpful. But I'm a true believer in trying many roles and bring some diversity to the table. So definitely, there are many career paths, but I like the general manager one.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Going back to SAP Labs US. So I was on one of the pages for it, and the projects that you are working on are really fascinating to me. So I was wondering if you could dive into one or a few projects that you're working on that you can share about.
Oh, wow, it's now you hear all your kids crying, daddy, who's your favorite one? But definitely, we have many of them. I can share with you maybe two examples. So we do a lot of work in SAP. You know, SAP is one of the leading companies for enterprise innovation, enterprise technology, right? And we have the leading solution in the market for analytics and databases. So we do a lot of projects about the future analytics, right? And this is where we really are obsessed with how customer will consume, you know, reporting and insight, and how will they drive their business. So we work on one project called Continuous Intelligence, which is a self-learning machine. It's like using really advanced AI, also ChatGPT, to find anomalies, to find, you know, bottlenecks in the organization without the need really to train the system or to learn about it. So we're not yet in the, you know, in the Terminator era when you have general AI and the machine are all autonomous, but definitely we're getting a lot, and we have many reference customers already talking about this. It's a project called Continuous Intelligence, where the system learns by itself from new data and understands what kind of new anomalies, what kind of new insight you might want to see without even you need to ask for it or train the model. So kind of self-learning system. This is around the future of business decision. The last example I will give you, we also like a lot to see the future. We see the future more as collaborative between enterprises, like we call it. We saw some example in the keynote about the business network. So the future of business collaboration is very important for us, and this is where we look into how hundreds and thousands of companies can collaborate between themselves. So we use blockchain where they can share identity without need to do long onboarding authorization process, or how we can streamline any compliance of document sending and do self-notarization, how you can notarize your own legal document without the need of auditors. This uses blockchain technology and really help to streamline anything that help to collaborate between companies without the burden of a lot of legal work, a lot of authorization, and many cool stuff.
It's incredible. I feel like we could take those two examples you just said and have another completely separate conversation around them, because I just find them both super fascinating. And I'm going to put my questions for that on ice, or else I'm going to keep you here forever. But kind of on that note, at an individual level, at a personal level, learning technology, and I think a lot of the viewers can relate to this, learning technology, how quickly technology is growing. It's so fast. It's hard. It feels like it's impossible to keep up with it.
Right.
At SAP, how do you ensure you're always so ahead of the curve, so innovative? How do you ensure SAP is always staying ahead?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. We have two things that we are doing, and we encourage our team. The first one is the constant learning and upskilling. We heard also a great example in the keynote, how we're now using AI for having more personalized development plan for employees. But we are lucky that we have very curious and ambitious employees, and they bring bottom down as well, many initiatives they look for. But this is why also, as we mentioned earlier, it's very important to be curious and keep this desire to learn. Otherwise, you might be caught in something that's becoming obsolete or something that is less innovative. So curiosity and constant learning and development come from the employees, but we also have a lot of learning and development program, and AI is a big factor how to even increase the reach of what we're doing. The second thing, we learn a lot from our customers, and this is a great opportunity where we are here in Sapphire. We do a lot of co-innovation. You know, our customer SAP has over 500,000 customers in the world, right? And we are lucky that they come to us first to share their problems, to share sometimes their data together and learn about what we can do in an anonymized fashion. And we learn new things about the world, right? It's something that we learn so much from our customer that we are lucky. And this is where, honestly, the outside in is a very important channel for us to learn too.
That is such a good point too, to learn right from your customers, what they are facing, their challenges they are facing, as well as external tools like AI you mentioned as well. But it seems throughout our entire conversation, the theme has been stay curious and continue to learn, which I think is super important.
And have a hobby, right?
Have a hobby, yes, exactly. Going back to, you mentioned blockchain, you mentioned AI, these are, even cloud computing, these are all really trending technologies and that have been around now for a while, but are continuing to get buzzwords, or buzzed or spoken about. Where do you see, and you touched on this a bit already, but where do you see these technologies being used further at SAP or in the world? I think, to give you an example, a lot of people are really wondering where AI will go in the next 5 years or 10 years. And I know we can't predict the future, but what's your thoughts around that?
No, I think it's a good question. It's on top of everyone's minds.
Yeah.
So AI will be dominant, and we're going to see another chapter of game changing, because it's already changing a lot of the thing we're doing. Mm-hmm. But definitely we can reach all the way to an autonomous enterprise, right? It doesn't mean you don't need the employees. Yeah. You just need to automate fully all the manual work you can do. Mm-hmm. And you can get questions and answers for everything you ask in a very fast way, which open a new door for creativity and grow your business, right? So I think it's definitely going to take a lion's share of all the activities we're doing in the organization. Yeah. Not today, not tomorrow, but it will come there. And the employees will go through a reskilling where they go into what we call more cognitive tasks, creativity, innovation, growing the business. I can tell you already we see a lot in the HR and human resource, how AI is automating a lot of work, looking into candidate resume, which is a lot of, any position can get 1,000 of CVs. But those employees researching these resumes are, they're not leaving the workplace. They're just moving now to develop the talent pipeline, working with universities, right, coming to a new audience, which is more kind of creative, cognitive talent work. So this kind of thing will go, and I think it's a very good story, because in the end of the day, it's all about productivity. And I'm not going to, like you say, we can spend the entire day here, but just think about the implication when you move the talent and innovation in healthcare. Or food and drug supply chains, right? And other things that can really help humanity. Yeah,
it's incredible, and it's moving so quickly, which is really exciting too. As someone who's very impatient. Yet for someone who is watching this and wants to apply at SAP, because they're like, I want to have a similar career path to his, or I want to work on these technologies, what is some advice you would give to someone who wants to apply and then maybe is going through the interview process? What characteristics or what stands out that you see across all or most SAP employees?
Well, I think the most important thing is actually not related to the technology or the job itself. I will really advise anyone who comes to SAP or would like to apply to be authentic. I mean, we can talk all day about technology and business, but honestly, SAP is a cool company. They are really cool and nice people. We're really proud in this. And being authentic, being curious, like come as yourself to the interview, it's something that will never fail you. And of course, you need some sort of domain expertise in the area you apply to, but we have so many roles, technical and non-technical, and we really appreciate people who are ambitious, right, and reliable. And if these kind of features comes in the interview, it's definitely in bonus. I would even, risk myself and say that would like to take candidates that, of course, are excellent in everything they do, but at least as important, we need people who are ambitious, good people, authentic, reliable, and this is what I'm also honestly like a lot about our company culture.
I love that. It is so true. It's one of those things this makes me think of a story for when I was interviewing quite a few years back at a company, and I got hired there, and it was one of my first roles as a developer. And looking back, maybe he could have worded it a little bit better, but it always stuck with me. Who was my manager, when I got hired, he called me and he said, we really appreciate you and your personality and your drive. He's like, your technical skills maybe aren't where they should be, but those can be taught. Exactly. But those skills that you're bringing with personable skills, curiosity, those are something that you can bring to the table, and the tech can be taught. And I think that's kind of it made me think of that from what you just shared too.
It's a very good point, and maybe I will add one more line regarding what you asked earlier. It's important if you want to progress in your career from managerial role to work as much as possible with people. You don't have to manage people, but you need to know how to work with people. You need to know how you flex your communication style. People are very different, right? How you have different audiences, right? And and you need to know how to deal with some happy moments and also less happy moments. And if you are a good people person, definitely the chances you will be promoted fast to manager role and officially be responsible for people development and growth it's bigger. So the people skill is as equally important, if not more, for the technical skills. And I think your manager was a very smart person. Those are a little bit harder to teach them than technology skill.
Yes, exactly. Yet I always end these conversations with the same question, which is, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I guess besides buying bitcoins and selling in 20. Okay, now I think one thing that as I said, I tried many things, I failed many things. One thing that I would advise the younger me is not looking into technology and doing technology for the sake of technology and coolness, which is something which I'm mumbling a little bit because it's very hard to tell people who are just out of school and would like to build the next things in AI. But sometimes we're seeing so many smart people, and I think I was one of those very excited young person that just looked at technology. It was so cool. There was no business certification. There was no problem to solve. There is nothing which is relevant for the customer, but you can do an amazing thing. You can do an image recognition, and hey, this company offer image recognition that can identify a cat 99.9999 of the times. I will do another 9 and then. So these things are exciting. They take a lot of work, but sometimes the value is not there. So technology, it's exciting. Get excited, but always try to find a good business problem, because especially in corporate, right, a good business value in the end, because this will help to scale the idea, to take it to market, and grow it. So this is what I would say, and then maybe even more of my ideas could find themselves into customer hands. Yeah,
I think it's so important and so true, especially when you're starting out your career in technology. There's so much exciting things going on that you just gravitate towards that naturally, but you also need to think too about the value that it's bringing, and that's really where you will find purpose long term.
Exactly.
Yaad, thank you so much for taking time to connect with me. It was really a pleasure, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day here at Sapphire.
Thank you, Tiffany, for having me, and enjoy Sapphire as well.
Thank you.